Hi everyone, welcome to today's class. Today we're gonna continue the Strategic Management Unit 5 continuation. Okay. So last we have seen strategy evaluation process and its significance. Okay. So process we already found, and today we're gonna see how to evaluate the strategic plan. Okay. So now that your strategic plan is all together in one place, so you should take a step back and evaluate, did you create the strategy you intended to create. Okay, so more than likely you and your team have to put a lot of time into a document you now have in front of you. So the first step after you have assembled your strategic plan is put it away from for a week and doesn't look at it. Okay, so no peeking. After working on these documents for months, you can easily get to so close to the plan that you miss obvious flaws. So which is called a not seeing the forest for the tree syndromes. So when you pick your plan back up, reread it and answer these questions. The question is the first one: does your plan connect your mission to your vision? So make sure that all your goals and strategies, means the plans, okay, align with your vision and support your mission. So this is to modify or delete any outliners. So you want all your energy focused on reaching your vision. Second one is your plan realistic? Because over planning is a common problem. Okay, so you should consider pushing some deadlines out further than you originally anticipated. And is your plan integrated? Make sure that all the elements of your plan support each other. So okay, without any step we can't proceed uh, we can't evaluate the strategic plan. Okay, so but before that we have to plan, after that execution, after that evaluation, implementation, formulation, like that. So if one process has stopped in the middle, okay, so then we can't move to the next levels. So you have to make sure that all elements of your plan support each other. Then is your plan balanced? So make sure that you have a good balance between the financial, customer, internal business process, and the employee and learning goals. Okay. Then next, is the plan complete? Because identify any holes in your plan or potential activities that are be unsupported. And finally, is the document clear? Because writing down an action item or a goal, okay, so that makes sense in the moment is easy, but making sure that the action makes sense in 6 months is crucial. So make sure that every statement is explicit, so everyone knows what is intended. So seek someone you trust outside of your organization to review a plan of a clarity and consistency. Fine. So next we move on to strategy evaluation and control. The first one is measuring organizational framework. So in this, measuring organization means it is an another important strategy. So why it is another important strategy means, because it is measuring organizational performances. Okay, so this activity which is includes comparing expected results to actual results, so which used to investigating deviations from a plans, evaluating individual performance, and examining process that being made toward a meeting stated objectives. So both long term and annual objectives, so these are commonly used in the process, so which used in a criteria for evaluating strategies that should be measurable and easily verifiable. Because the criteria that predict the result may be more important than those that reveal what already has happened. Because for example, rather than a simply being informed that sales last quarter were 20% under what was expected, so strategists need to know that sales next quarter may be 20% below standard unless some action is taken to counter the trend. So really effective control require accurate forecasting. Okay, so for this the failure to make a satisfactory process towards accomplishing long term or annual objective signals, so a need of a corrective actions. So many factors such as a reasonable policy, unexpected turns in economy, and then unreliable suppliers and distributors are inefficient strategies. So this can be result in unsatisfactory progress towards meeting the objectives. So the problems can resolve from ineffectiveness, so not doing the right things, or inefficiency, doing the right things properly. So determining which objectives are most important in the evaluation of the strategies. So that can be difficult. So the strategy evaluation is based on both quantitative, qualitative. Okay, the selecting exact set of criteria for evaluating strategies depends on particular organization size, industry, strategies, and management philosophy, because an organization pursuing the retrenchment strategy, okay, so for example, could have an entirely different set of evaluation criteria from the organization which is the pursuing a market development strategy. Okay, so by this, the quantitative criteria commonly used to evaluate the strategies or a financial ratios, so which strategies used to make a three crucial comparisons. The comparison, or a first one, comparing the firm's performance over the different time periods, because if it is a starting for the firm starting phase, it will be in a low. Okay, the market value and the financial value will be in a low, because they didn't meet up any customers, any improvements, because it is that's a introduction stage. Okay, so we already know the PLC, right? Product life cycle. So introduction, growth, maturity, saturation, decline. So that the introduction stage, so they we have to compare the many critical comparison over the different times of periods. And next one is comparing the firm's performances, so which is to the competitors. Okay, third one is comparing the firm's performance to industry average, because some key financial ratios, so which are particularly useful as a criteria for a strategy evaluation, so which are follows: return on investment, debt to equity, profit margin, return on equity, earnings per share, and sales growth. So, but there are some potential problems which are associated with using a quantitative criteria for evaluating strategies. So, for a most quantitative criteria, so that are geared to annual objectives rather than long-term objectives. So, also different accounting methods, so which can provide results on many quantitative criteria. The secondly, the intuitive judgment are almost always involved in deriving quantitative criteria. For these other resources, the qualitative criteria are also important in evaluating strategies. So the human factors such as a high absenteeism and turnover rates and poor production quality and a quantity rates. So or a low employee satisfaction. So these can be underlying causes of declining performances. Okay, the next one is characteristics of strategy evaluation. So the strategy evaluation must need to several basic requirements to be effective. Okay, so that the firm strategy evaluation activation must be economical. So too much information can be judged as bad as too little information, and too many controls can more harm than a good. So this evaluation activities also should be meaningful, so they should specifically relate to the firm's objectives. So they should provide managers with useful information about tasks over which they have control and influence. Though so this strategy evaluation activity should provide timely information on occasion, and in some areas managers which may daily need information. So if a major competitor withdraws from a particular market, as intelligence reports indicates what action should our firm take. So if our sales objectives are not reached, what action should our firm take to avoid a profit losses? If a demand for our new product exceeds plans, what action should our firm take to meet a higher demand? So if certain disasters occur, such as the loss of computer capabilities, the hostile takeover attempt, loss of patent protection, or a destruction of a manufacturing facilities, this is because of earthquakes. Okay, so what action should our firm take? So if a new technology advancement which makes our a new product obstacle sooner than expected, so what action should our firm take? Types of control. So the management can implement controls before an activity commences, starts, while the activities are going on, after the activity has been completed. So the three respective types of control based on a timing are feed forward, concurrent, and feedback. Okay, so the first one is a control. So feed forward control, which is focused on a regulation of inputs. The inputs are human, material, the financial resources. Okay, so that the flow in the organization. to ensure that they meet the standards necessary for a transformation process. So feed forward controls are desirable because they allow management to prevent the problems rather than having to them later. So unfortunately, these controls require timely, accurate information. So that is often difficult to develop. So the feed forward control, also sometimes called preliminary control, preventive control or steering control. So however, some authors use term, okay, which is a steering control, as a separate type of a control. So these type of controls are designed to detect deviation from some standard or a goal to allow correction to be made before a particular sequence of action is completed. And then second was a concurrent control. So this takes place while an activity is in progress, which involves the regulation of ongoing activities that as part of transformation process to ensure that they conform to organization standards. So which is the concurrent control is designed to ensure that employee work activities produce a correct results. So the concurrent control, sometimes called a screening or yes or no control. So because it often involves checkpoints at which the determinations are made about whether to continue progress or take corrective actions or stop work altogether and products or services. And then third one is a feedback control. So this type of control focus on outputs of organization, so which is after transformation is a complete. So sometimes called a post action or output control, which fulfill a number of important functions for one thing. Okay, so it often is used when feed forward and concurrent controls are not feasible or too costly. So the major drawback of this type of control is that the time the manager has information and there is a significant problem. So the damage is already done, but for many activities, the feedback control fulfills a number of important functions. And finally, that is a multiple control. So feed forward, concurrent, feedback. Okay, these three control methods are not mutually exclusive. So they usually are combined in a multiple control system. So the managers designs control system to define standards of performance and acquire information feedback as a strategic control points. And the next one is a problems of control system. Okay, so there are large number of problems which is associated with the control system for strategy evaluation, because an efficient system which may collect a lot of irrelevant data, whereas the sophisticated system might ignore crucial information. Some of the typical problems in control, so there may not be a consciousness on the criteria for measuring the effectiveness and efficiency of the strategy, so the reporting data may be invalid. So the performance norms may be based on an output on which the relevant business may not have a control. So that often performed performance standards, so they may set with inherent contradiction. For example, an increase in a market share may be expected in conjunction with an absolute decrease in marketing expenditure. So the employees may consider the system to be unfair and therefore may not be accepted. Okay, and the next one is features of effective strategy evaluation system. So it has five types of features. Okay, so there are five basic requirements the evaluation of a strategy. So based on this evaluation can also be sensitive process because of a human factors involved. So too much or a too rigorous evaluation and control may be expensive and sometimes counterproductive. Okay, and sometimes excuse me, counterproductive. Also authority and flexibility may be challenged, minimized and even eliminated. So because too little or no evaluation may create an opposite effect, lack of responsibility and accountability. In some companies, the strategy evaluation simply means performance appraisal of the organization. So this is also not correct. The evaluation system that should be balanced to follow some norms and standards. The strategy analysis have laid down certain basic requirements which evaluation should comply with to be effective. Okay, so based on this, there are five types, five certain basic requirements. The first one is strategy evaluation process. Okay, so that should be meaningful. This should specifically relate to objective style targets and a plan. So there should be clear focus and no ambiguity. And for second, strategy evaluation and a control process, so that should be economical. So this means that a process should not be made uncertainly elaborate and incurs too much of a cost evaluation itself. The third one is evaluation process. So that should conform to a proper time dimension for a control and information retrieval or a dissemination. So time dimension of a control should coincide with the time span of activity. So the implementation phase. Also, the information on development or a feedback should be timely to make evaluation and control more appropriate. And for a fourth one, the strategy evaluation system. So which should give a true picture of what actually happening. Because the objective of evaluation is not a fault finding. Sometimes the performance may be overshadowing by external factors or the environment. For example, during the severe slump in economic business activity, the productivity, profitability, which may decline in a spite of a best efforts by the managers to implement the strategy. And fifth one is strategy evaluation process. So that should not dominate or curb decisions, because it should promote a mutual understanding, trust, common cause, and all functional and operational areas that should be cooperated with each other in evaluating and controlling strategies. So the strategy evaluation process should be simple, not too complex or restrictive. The next one is guidelines for effective strategic management. Okay, the failing to follow certain guidelines to conducting strategic management, which can foster criticisms of the process and create problems, because the issues such as is strategic management is our firm, a people process or a paper process, because should he addressed, because what are the problems they have faced. So an important guideline for effective strategic management is open mindedness. Okay, so a willingness and eagerness to consider new information and new viewpoints, new ideas, new possibilities is essential, because all organization members, so there must be a spirit of inquiry of learning. So the strategies such as a chief executive officers, president, owners and small business and heads of government agencies, so they must commit themselves to listen to understand managers satisfaction. In addition, the managers and employees throughout the firm should be able to describe the strategist's positions to the satisfaction of the strategist. So this degree of discipline will promote understanding and learning. So no organization has unlimited resources. A firm can take on unlimited amount of a debt of issue and unlimited amount of a stock to raise capital. So therefore, no organization can pursue all the strategies that potentially could benefit the firm. So the strategy decision thus always have to made to eliminate some courses of action and to allocate the organizational resources among others. So the most organization can afford to pursue only a few corporate level strategies at any given time. So it is critical mistake for managers to pursue too many strategies at the same time. So thereby the spreading the firm resource to so thin that are all strategies are jeopardized. Okay, so strategy decision require trade-off such as a long range versus a short range. So there is a consideration at a maximizing profit versus increasing shareholders wealth. So there are ethics issues. So the strategy trade-off require subjective judgment and preferences. So in many cases a lack of objectivity in formulating strategy results in a loss of competitive posture and profitability. So most organizations today recognize that strategic management concepts and techniques can enhance the effectiveness of decisions. So based on this, the strategic management proper perspective, okay, to second edition summarize, because it should be people process more than a paper process, and it should be learning process for all manager employees, and this it should be words supported by the numbers, and it should be simple and non-routine, and very vary assignments, team members and meeting formats, and even the planning calendar, and challenge the assumption underlying the currency corporate strategy. So we should welcome bad news and also welcome open mindedness and spirit of inquiry learning. So we should not bureaucratic mechanism and stilted orchestrated become, which should not. Okay, so it should not too formal, predictable or rigid. So it should not contain a planning language arcane. Okay, so it's not formal system of a control. and stringent qualitative information. So it should not controlled by technicians. So do not pursue too many strategies at once. So continually the strengthen the good ethics is as sorry continually the strengthen the good ethics is good business policies. Okay, and the next one is a strategic control. Excuse me. So the strategic control. So this is a process used by the organization to control the formation and execution strategy plans. So it is specialized form of management control and differs from other forms of management control. So this control is also focused on achievement of future goals rather than evaluation of a past performance. So with that, a related concern for a strategic control process, the most amount of a time and effort required for the process to work. If either is too great, or the process will either by ineffective and or to be ignored by the organization. So because the various authors have proposed that all strategic control systems necessarily comprise a small set of standard elements, because the absence of any one of the which makes strategic control impossible to achieve. Okay. So the four elements they have given, the first one is the articulation of a strategic outcome being sought. Okay, so and the description of the strategy activities to be carried out, which is attached to a specific managed resources, and the definition of a method to track a process made against these two elements, usually the monitor of a small number of performance measures and associated target values. Then the identification of an effective intervention mechanism, so that would allow observers, usually the organization managers, to change and correct adjust the organization activities when the target are not achieved. So by these elements imply an active involvement by senior managers of the strategic activities which is pursued by the component part of an organization. And this has led some to observe the strategic control is most effective in organization which focus on a single market or area of activity. Okay, then a strategic control mechanism. So the control mechanism play an important role in any business organization, without which roles of managers get constrained and the control is required for achieving the goals in a predefined manner, because it provides instruments which influence the performance decision making process of an organization. So the control is in fact concerned with the regulation applied to the activities within an organization to attain expected results in establishing policies, plans, practices. So good mechanism can be set according to functions, product attributes and geographical attributes and the overall strategic financial objectives. Okay, next one is the objectives of a control. So there are three main objectives for having the control mechanism. Okay, so this is by Henry Foyle. Okay, so they are to get a data and a clues for the top management for monitoring, evaluating and adjusting their decision and operational objectives, and to get a clues based on which common objectives that can be set to get a optimum coordination among units, and finally they evaluate the performance merits of managers at each levels. Okay, so then according to Henry Foyle, what he defined as a management control is a control of an undertaking consists of a seeing that everything is being carried out in accordance with the plan so which has been adopted, the orders which have been given, and the principles which have been laid down. So its object is to point out the mistakes in order that they may be rectified and prevented from a recurring. Okay. So the next one is the types of strategic control. So there are various modes of control. The most influential ones are the following. Okay, the first one, personal controls. So these are achieved via personal contact with the subordinates. So it is the most widely used type of control mechanism in small firms for providing direct supervision of operational and employee management. So this is a personal control which used to construct a relationship process between the manager at different level of employees in a multinational companies. Next one is a bureaucratic control. So these are associated with the inherent bureaucracy bureaucracy in an international firms. So which could the control mechanism is composed of some system of rules and procedures to direct the influence the actions of subunits. So the most common example of bureaucratic control is found in case of capital spending rules, so which require top management approval when it exceeds a certain limits. And the next one is output control. So the output control are used to set goals for the subsidiaries to achieve the targeted outputs in various departments. So this output control is an important part of international business management because a company's efficiency is relative to a bureaucratic control. So the major criteria for judging output control include productivity, profitability, growth, market share, and quality of a products. And the next one is cultural control. So this corporate culture is a key for a deriving maximum output and profitability, and hence this cultural control is a very important attribute to measure the overall efficiency of a firm. So it takes form when employees of the firm try to adopt the norms and values preached by the firm. So the employees usually tend to control their own behavior following the cultural control norms of the firm. So hence it reduces the dependence of on indirect direct supervision when applied well. So in a firm with a strong culture, self flourishes automatically, which in turn reduces the need for other types of control mechanisms. Okay. And next one, strategic control approaches to control mechanisms. Okay. The first approach is market. Okay, so the market approach says that the external business organization, okay, so this is the external market force shape the control mechanism and the behavior of the management within the organizational units at MNC. So the market approach is applied in any organization which having decentralized culture. In such organization, transfer prices are negotiated openly and freely. And the next one is a rules approach. So this applies to a rules oriented organization where a greater part of decision making is applied to strongly impose the organizational rules and procedures, so which require highly developed plan and budget systems with extensive formal reporting. So the rules approach of a control utilizes both the input and output controls in an organized and exclusively formalized manner. And the next one is corporate culture approach. So, in organization which follow the corporate culture, the employees internalize the goals of building a strong set of values. So, these value, okay, syndicate the influence of our organizational mechanism of which has been observed that even when some organization have strong norms of behavioral controls, so they are informal and less explicit. And the next one is reporting culture. So this is a powerful control mechanism which is used while allocating resources or while the top management wants to monitor the performance of a firm and their employees. So thereby rewarding the personnel is a common practice in such approaches of control. However, to get the maximum out of reporting approaches. And the next one is visits to subsidiaries. So this is a common control approach. This disadvantages is that all the information cannot be exchanged via visits. So the corporate staff usually and frequently visits the subsidiaries to confer, socialize with the local management. So they visit enable the visitors to collect information about the firm, which allows them to offer advice and directives. And next one is a management performance evaluation. So this evaluation is used to evaluate the subsidiary managers for the subsidiary performance. So however, as a decision making authority is a different from operational managers, some aspects of control cannot be managed via this. Okay, slow growth rates of a firm, risky economy, and a political environment requires this kind of approaches. And next one is cost and accounting comparisons. Because this comparison is a financial approach, so which arises due to the difference in expenditure among various units of subsidiaries. So a meaningful comparison of the operating performance of the units is necessary to get a full output from the approach. So the cost accounting comparison uses a set of rules that are applicable to their home country principles to meet local reporting requirements based on this. Okay, so based on this, the constraints of a Control approaches. The next one. So this control mechanism can never be uniform in every country because the international firms have to face several constraints based on which they modify their control mechanism in every country. So here is a list of major constraints. There are three: distance, diversity, degree of uncertainty. For a distance, geographical distance and various forms of cultural disparities is a big constraint of a control system. So nowadays, email, fax transmission have replaced the human communication, which users are changing the meaning of distance among units and employees of an organization. And for diversity, so it is hard to apply a common control system to everyone due to the diversity, which require the managers to be locally responsive to address the needs of the country in which the firm operates. So the diverse attributes may exist in the form of labor, cost, currency, and economic factors and business standards, etc. And next one is a degree of uncertainty. So the data relating to the reporting mechanism may be inaccurate or incomplete, so raising serious challenges to control a mechanism due to uncertainties. The control mechanism must focus on setting goals and developing plans to meet the goals. And by this class is over, means strategic management unit 5. Okay, so please go through the all units which I have given the materials. If you have any queries, feel free to text me in a WhatsApp. Thank you.